Do you ever go through periods where you question your life and direction? Ever experience sadness or worry of not being who or how you were before? Perhaps falling into self-doubt or creating indecision. What would it take to align with your highest self? Welcome to today's edition of Inspire, Innovate, Ignite, Conversations That Count. This series will help you understand the topics at a deeper level so that you become empowered to integrate the tips and discussion elements into your day-to-day life. This life is an opportunity to embody who you came here to be and focus on doing what aligns your greatest path of service. Our panelists will help guide you into a rhythm that builds momentum for what you are most passionate about. It's time to rise up from those ashes of self-doubt and lack of trust, polish your gifts and abilities so you can shine in your brilliance. If not now, when? In fact, with it being the full moon today, it's the perfect time for illumination of the path that you're on, and if it's really the most fulfilling one. So without further ado, let me introduce you to today's panelists for fulfilling your destiny. Dr. Ida Green, the Soul Whisperer coach, shows spiritual women the magic of incorporating intuition into their business and life, showing up with their superpowers to connecting them on a heartfelt level for sales, clients, cash flow, having fun, conflict-free relationships, communicating to be understood, listening to hear the messages that others think but never say, so that you are in the flow of all the good that the universe has in store for you. Dr. Ida teaches you how to tap into your intuition to hear messages from your soul. Lisa DePamphilis helps female entrepreneurs who've spent years struggling to get results identify who their ideal clients are and how, when, and why they'll be ready to work with them. Her psychic and channeling abilities help with articulating her clients' overarching marketing message, offers, and services, and seeing their unique gifts and purpose. She's an intuitive mentor, facilitator, and strategist, internationally recognized in the world of business, online marketing, and awakening consciousness. Since 2018, she's taken hundreds of people through her own proven process, connecting them to their soul clients, expressing their essence in their business, and tapping to their own inner guru so that they can show up as the light that they're here to be in the world. Lisa is also our Sacred Communities co-host of the Magical Playground, where you become more you tribe. As a former firefighter, Denise Garrett knows what it takes to fight fires and deal with tragedies physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And as a former therapist and certified minister, Denise is an expert in empowering people to achieve their goals on all those same levels. Denise is known as a courage whisperer for her empathic listening style and ability to support others in turning their obstacles into opportunities for greater living. She brings more than 25 years of experience to show you exactly how to overcome what's holding you back, develop and implement your inspired action plan, and provides the coaching accountability needed to create a thriving life. Her genuine care for others shines in everything that she does, whether it's on stage, hosting her weekly podcast, working with clients, or extending a helping hand to a stranger. At her company, Courageous Leadership Academy, Denise loves to teach and share the exact strategies that have allowed her and her clients to shift from surviving to positively thriving. I cannot wait to hear what each of them has to share about how we can fulfill our destiny. I'm Jennifer Regular, facilitating this discussion today, which is also part of the Wake Up and Change the World Global Summit, sponsored by our Sacred Community. So let's get started. Hello, hello, hello. Look at these amazing faces, these panelists that are here to share. And the first question I have for you all is, what are the differences between fate and destiny? Denise, can you share your insights on that?
Well, I think people believe fate means I have no control over my destiny, that things are just going to happen to me. My life's going to turn out a certain way. And destiny is more of your soul's calling, your spirit's calling. It's this place deep within you that knows that you're here to do something that only you can do. And when you get quiet and tap into that voice, you start reaching for your destiny.
Yes, I love that. And Lisa, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I love that answer. And I think if you think about the words fate and destiny, you can feel that fate just feels heavier. It feels more dense. It is a lower vibrational word than destiny. And destiny to me means that we remember who we're here to be. We that is our destiny, is to remember who we are here to be and show up that way. So it's more of a journey. Fate sounds like doom and gloom, and destiny feels more like a journey of discovery.
It does, doesn't it? A journey of discovery. I love that. It's much more exciting, opens us up to way more possibilities for our life, and allows us to determine our destiny too, and not succumb to fate. Dr. Ida, do you see a difference there? You'll have to unmute, Dr. Ida.
I
There
have,
we go.
oh yeah. I most of my life, I think because I came from a religious background, I started early as a Baptist, and then went in other religions. Faith has been the one thing that has kept me anchored, moving through, going to Chicago and going to nurse school. I've been in so many transitions in my life, and so many transition relationships and challenges, that the one thing that's kept me glued together was my faith, because I always had that faith of a mustard seed. And because I had that faith of mustard seed, I felt I could accomplish anything. And I've been able to accomplish a lot of things. And I used that really especially when I was writing, going through all my challenges, and helped me, allow me to write the 22 books that I wrote. But it was because of that faith of the mustard seed. So I don't know, I probably have a destiny, but I don't want to define myself narrowly that way. So I'm expansive and never growing and doing so many things. So I think they both kind of come together, and when I need them, but I don't want to define myself as I'm destined to do just this, because I've done so many things, and there's more things for me to do, to accomplish, because I'm gonna write another book. So I just want to be open to my possibilities. So I think I bring them both together. Faith when I need it, when I really need support and need to be grounded, and destiny is when I'm evolving.
Thank you for that. And Dr. Ida, what would you say lit your path that you're on now? What brought you to this place? How did it evolve for you up to this point?
Well, it's interesting because, you know, I first started out, thought I'm just going to become a nurse like my aunt. And then I became a school nurse and a teacher and a RN and a therapist. So I just kept evolving. And when I got in that abusive marriage, it really took me to different heights, because I had to figure out what to do with that. So I had to turn my lemons into lemonades. And that's what started me to write all these books, because I had to write about anger and love and just all kinds of parts of me that were broken. So I had to write about my brokenness. But the path of going in these unknown places, where I even having a boy that I adopted that went to prison, and another boy that died, all of these things that would have taken me down, but it allowed me to keep evolving and keep thinking there's something better. I kept seeing a bright road, even though it was in darkness. I just kept seeing the bright path, and I still see the bright path. So I'm just open to keep evolving and growing, and knowing that the best for me is yet to come.
Yes, and it sounds like you have a real trust in the process too, that you're always going to be shown the next steps, and just know if it feels bright, if it looks brighter, then that's the right path to take. Is that how it feels?
Absolutely. And you know, sometimes when you're in these dark places, you don't know how you're going to come out. But if you have that faith that is going to be a good good thing, which I just think that a bad thing is going to be a good thing, and I transform it that way. So I see that as not, I really see it as polishing my soul. I really believe we're here to polish our soul, and all these opportunities and all these challenges just help my soul to polish and get my life to get brighter. So yeah, it's a journey for me, and just evolve into the best of me that's yet to come. So for me, it's a journey.
Polishing your soul. I like that. I like that. Making it brighter. It's beautiful. Lisa, what lit your path? Do you feel like you're on the path of your destiny now?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I've always been on the path. So just, it's easier to look back than to look forward in figuring things out. But I've always been on the path to discovering more, to discovering who I am, and to really understanding myself, and my connection to God, the universe, all that is, spirit, whatever that bigger thing is. From as long as I can remember. My mom used to drag me around to her esoteric things that she would go to. And so, I remember getting my aura read on my hand when I was like 5 years old at this psychic fair. And I just was always fascinated by what else is there that we're not seeing. What else is there that's magical, and living in knowing that is real, just as real as our everyday life. And so, yeah, I feel like I've been on the journey for a long time, all my life, since I can remember. And the destiny is not, it's not done until you're done, until we're done here. We're always growing and expanding and learning and becoming more of who we're here to be. And so, yeah, I'm just in the thick of it right now.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot about just being open and exploring and expanding into the possibilities, and recognizing that there's infinite potential, there's infinite possibilities, so many different future potentialities we can step into and choose from. And how do you even decide what's next? Denise, what are some of the decisions that you've made along the way that kind of helped you evolve into what was in perfect alignment for what felt true for you along your path of destiny?
I think at a young age, I realized that, we all want to feel loved and be liked and fit in and belong. But I realized if I wasn't true to myself, then I wasn't really loved for me. So it was like fake love. And I didn't want fake love. I wanted the real deal. So I realized the importance at a young age of just having the courage to be me. And the people that stuck with me were like my tribe, And I felt that deep love and connection with them. And the others, well, we just weren't a good fit. We weren't in the same growth place at that point. And that's okay too. I think that's, part of it. Yeah. Big part of it.
And you've carried few different roles too, right, Denise, as a firefighter and as a minister and as a therapist. And do you think it's those roles that define us, or who we are in those roles, or how does it come into play? How do you move from being in one role to another role to another role? We talked a little bit about evolving, but what do you think inspired you to move from firefighting to ministry to therapy, for example?
Before we go there, when I graduated from college, I went to work for a good company like my parents and family wanted me to do. And it was in corporate America, and it was not my thing. It was just sucking the life out of me. And I realized that I didn't want that to be my life. In my mind, I spend way too much time at work to be miserable, to be unhappy. And so I got curious about, okay, well, what do I think might make me happy? What do I think I could do where I have that sense of personal satisfaction and joy or peace? And I stumbled into firefighting. I met a woman who was a firefighter. And at the time, I didn't know women were firefighters, but we had a lot in common. And when she first asked me, had I considered it, the first thing I said was, women don't do that. She goes, well, yes, I'm a woman and they do. There's just not many of us. And then I said, well, are you crazy? You can die doing that. And she said, well, that's true too, but I've been doing it for a while and I'm still here. And we're all going to die one day anyway. And that's true. So I sat with it, and then I picked up the phone and called and said, hey, I want to do this thing, because I realized that there was something in me that wanted to serve others, to help others. And that's been the theme throughout my life. And so each shift I've had in roles is just another expression of how I'm serving and how I'm serving. And I think that what allows me to do that, and might change again, who knows? I like what everybody's talking about. The path is always unfolding. Like, we're not limited. It's just because you pick something doesn't mean you're stuck. You pick it and you learn from it, and then you grow and you expand. And the more comfortable you are with yourself, and the more committed you are to your own happiness, and I think to serving others, the juicier life gets.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So what do you think helps us stay aligned with our mission, our personal mission, our, as you said, Denise, of this recognition of the need to serve, wanting to serve in some way, and finding different expressions of that? Lisa, what do you think? Is there such thing as a personal mission?
There can be, for sure. We each have our own unique personalities and our own unique fingerprints, if you will. And that means that, like, as a therapist, I knew this, and I think parents all over the world know this. You can say something to someone, and the person you're speaking to doesn't hear you. And then someone else can say the exact same thing, but that person hears them. And it's like this mystery. So when you have that happen, and you're the one watching, you're like, well, I said the same thing. Why didn't they hear me? And it's because there's something about the other person. There's something about their personality, their energy, their presence that can get a message across in a way that you can't. Or there's something in the other person's perception about that other person that's different from how they perceive you or me. So they can't hear, like me, for instance. So I think when we get clear on, we're here to serve. And that could be by taking great photographs of whatever it is. It could be landscapes, it could be portraits, it could be parties, it could be anything, it could be weddings. Maybe that's what you're called to, how you're called to serve. But when you have that joy around it, like I wake up every day and go, I get to go to work today. It's not like I have to, I get to go to work today. And so I know that it's time for me to make a change when I don't have that exact feeling. Did I answer your question, Jennifer?
You did, but I was actually addressing Lisa with it.
Oh, sorry.
Very nicely from what you were saying. So Lisa, what do you feel? Is there such thing as a personal mission? And do you feel you have one? And how did that show up for you?
Yeah, well, I love what Denise said, so thank you for that. And I believe we do have a personal mission, and I believe that it changes as we change and grow. And it starts with listening within to like what Denise said, to what lights you up, what brings you joy, and following those breadcrumbs of yes, this is really exciting. This is what I want to do. Because when you're in that vibration, you're serving the world anyway, just being in joy. And so it doesn't matter what you're doing, if you can check in with yourself and know that what you're doing is bringing you joy, or if it's not, exploring what experiences you have going on around you and readjusting. Like I believe that it's not a linear path. This life is all over the place, and we get to choose which path we take. I don't think there is a wrong path. I don't think that there's not one way to do it right. It all leads us to eventually who we're here to be. And we get to play with that, the journey. We get to play with what feels good. If it doesn't feel good, we're just going to be in more struggle. Do we want to be in struggle? If we want to be in struggle, we stay there. If we don't want to be in struggle, maybe we make another choice that brings more joy. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think our mission's always unfolding and always becoming more clear and bigger and expansive as we grow and expand and evolve.
Mhm. Absolutely. Becoming aware of our skills and abilities, and also learning to recognize our potency. Where do we really thrive? Where do we have the most power to influence and impact and serve? What is the highest expression of that? Is it the most fulfilling path? And sometimes we think we're on the right path, and then it doesn't feel so good anymore. It doesn't feel like it's fulfilling us. We might reach a plateau or decide it's not really who we are or what we stand for. Maybe we were living out someone else's expectations or feeling like we had to stay in a job or relationship or some other role because there was some kind of attachment to it or attachment to an outcome that we didn't quite get there yet. This isn't the way that we envisioned it or dreamed about it or was expected to accomplish in that. And sometimes that can trip us up. But then what I heard from what you were saying, Lisa, too, is that we become adaptable as well. And we become detached from any particular way of being or role that we need to maintain, or like this forever thing, that it's supposed to be
Yeah.
forever, best friends forever, marriage forever, home forever, and that can change. And sometimes there's grief around that. Sometimes it can feel like we didn't live up to those expectations. There's also opportunity, well, maybe it just wasn't the best fit. Maybe there's something even better along the way. And so I love that all of you have been speaking about being open to the possibilities and adapting and pivoting and trying different things and finding the truest expression of who you are. And
When
we
you
now have,
refine, oh, sorry.
yeah, no, go, Lisa. What were you saying?
I feel like the longer you're on the path to your calling, to finding your mission, to doing the service work, you're refining and refining and refining. And so that the mission may change because you're elevating your own self and you're elevating the work in the world, and it just deepens in that. So the mission may not look completely different. It may just be a different version of that.
Yes, yes. And sometimes there's an opportunity to redefine your focus even. And now we have another panelist that's just joined us, Natasha Sharma. So let me introduce her. She is a clinical hypnotherapist, author, speaker, mentor, and hypnobirthing instructor based out of Mumbai, India. Her passion is money and manifestation. Her mission is to have conversations about death, thereby normalizing them. Her expertise is in using somatic experiences to heal and guide people to find the root causes of physical injuries and diseases. Thank you, Natasha, for bringing your energy here and your expertise. It sounds like you've dabbled in a few different areas as well. And we were just discussing whether there's such a thing as a personal mission and how you feel it, whether you have one, how that shows up for you, whether you feel like you're on your path of destiny, how that's been evolving for you. So having just read a little bit about you, can you share a little bit more into your mission and your path that you're on right now?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you for that introduction, Jennifer. I'm sorry I'm late. I had like a bit of a crazy night, but of course, a crazy night in the 40s isn't the same as the one in the 20s. So it was all like household drama. But anyway, so I overslept a little bit, but I'm happy to be here. And so it's interesting that we're talking about it from this angle when I actually do declare that I have a mission. And honestly, how this came about is that I've had a lot of experiences in my life, as has everyone. I've been on my self-awareness path for a long time now, and I made a few very monumental, full-bodied shifts in the last couple of years. And it got me to this point where I realized that there's one thing that I need to look back at my life gather what I have my unique voice and experience in and share that with the world. And with me, it just happened to be death because I lost my mother when I was very young. I've seen all types of death up close and personal, and for some reason, it just felt that I should be the one to talk about it. It felt right. It felt aligned, and so I don't do any work around it in the sense. There's no commercial aspect to that part. That's why I called it my mission, and I'm glad I have it, because to have something that comes from the depths of your soul with no agenda except for just knowledge and alignment and love and upliftment, it is really freeing. And the passion bit you read about, that I've realized, the whole conversation of money and manifestation, ultimately it's about self-worth. And all kind of healing that we do, all kind of every curve and bend in our self-awareness journey is all about self-esteem and self-worth at the end of the day. And that just presents itself as money ultimately. So that's what I do. And of course the qualifications are many, but I decided to put it down on that. And the minute you start working with self-worth and self-esteem and money, then of course whatever is ailing you, physical diseases, injuries, they all get covered under the same umbrella. So I no longer am as scattered as I was in my 30s. And I think it's a function of age and stage, as well as how much work you do on yourself for these next layers to like sort of reveal themselves. Thank you for listening. I'm Natasha. I'm done for now.
Yeah, I can hear that connecting with what Lisa was talking about too, about refining as we go along, and finding that potency and using passion to fuel our purpose, right? What lights us up, what feeds us, what feels fulfilling and energizes us and makes us want to get out of bed and get to go to work or get to serve, and feeling that love. And the way I see passion, when you break up the word, it's pass I on. And that I is your soul's expression of what you're here to pass on in this lifetime. And that can take many different forms and different ways of expressing. But at some point, you realize what it is that soul really wants to express and how we're going to pass that on in this lifetime. And that's the energy behind it all. That's freeing our spirit to direct the life that we're meant to live. And what is often talked about at the end of life, when people are celebrating that, what they liked about the person, their energy, their vibe, what they learned from them, what they taught them, what they hated about them, what gave them struggle, all of the things that was expressed through them, who they were. It was the one unique imprint and energy that was given out. And then when everyone, like Denise was talking about earlier, will have a different experience of that. One person might find that you were amazing to talk to and felt understood, another one would have felt ignored. It's the energy dynamics come into play as well. Dr. Ida, what's your take on this about having a personal mission? Do you have one?
I've never had a mission. I was never attached to one. When I kind of just evolved like a flower, like a plant. I never had a mission, but what I realized for myself is that I came here incarnate in this lifetime, and I created all the tools, I'm looking at it now, that would help my soul to evolve. So I've had a lot of challenges with the foster children, with the schizophrenic husband, with the bipolar, alcoholic husband, and even alcoholic parents. All of these things that help my soul to evolve. So I chose a lot of challenges, of situations that help my soul to evolve. And so for me, I'm here to my soul to evolve, and like to polish my soul to grow, to let my divine, greater Christ, the spiritual creator self to come through. And what I realize is I'm working with the guy right now, activate his intuition. And we're looking at, he's a massage therapist, and I'm looking at, he has whole lot of list of things that he wants to do. And so what I did, I said, we're gonna align your crown chakra, your heart chakra, and your root chakra, to see which one of these things where you're aligned with. And I have never done that before, but I knew I need to do that with him. So that passion, you know, he's so passionate about massage. I thought, well, let's just look at all these places that you are and see where the passion comes from, because I never realized that I was passionate about just evolving and growing. And so now I'm helping someone else to look at what is their passion and how they're going to evolve even more. He wants to evolve and make more money and all that. So I'm doing something with him that I hadn't, that no one had done for me, but I can see how that can really bring out the passion and the heart. And so it's just, yeah, we're just a kaleidoscope of talents and possibilities. And I just love people and life, because, you know, no person is the same. Everyone is different. So we all came here to polish our soul in different ways. So each one of us is a whole different kaleidoscope, and we can't be duplicated. So I love the varieties of souls that are created on the planet, because we add so much variety to the planet and to the puzzle of what life is all about. We're just like a pot of soup, and you put all these little ingredients in here, and what have you come with a masterpiece that people is worth eating and tasting and living. So I just love life and living and people, because that's who we are. We're just a big possibility bud of flower, just possibility. And so every day we get to wake up to a new possibility of who we can be and what is possible. So until we leave the planet, I want to continue to keep evolving and growing, because I'm seeing different parts of me that I never saw before. So I love this activating intuition, because, and I didn't start out on this path. I'm doing this late in life because I wasn't aware of that now, but now I realize the possibility of intuition and a guidance. And so it's just evolving. I'm evolving to my best self. I love it.
I love it too. And I love that perspective about the kaleidoscope and how beautiful that can be. And you get to play, and just, it's a sensory experience as well. And we all are multisensory beings having these multidimensional lives, and we get to experience different levels of being, and through all of our senses really take in life. And we've been talking a lot about conscious creation and pivoting and choices and being open to the possibilities. And although we want to choose passion and what we love to do, some people are really fueled by obligation. And by being fueled by obligation, I mean feeling the need, they're more in survival mode, that it's impossible to leave their job because they have all these bills to pay, or has security, or there's a pension, or there's health benefits that they desperately need because they have families or health issues going on. How can people shift from obligation into their passion when people are feeling that there's not all of these possibilities, or not for them anyway, because they're feeling restricted or stuck, or don't know how to move out of a job that they've had for 20 years or more, or, you know, having to put food on the table and needing to do something that they don't enjoy doing every day, but they do it anyway because of that sense of responsibility and surviving and wanting to feed their family and pay their bills. But it's from a place that isn't as fulfilling. It's more through obligation rather than passion. So how can people start shifting and open up to all these possibilities that we're talking about here? How can we help them transition into something that would be more fulfilling for them? Dr. Ida, do you have any thoughts
I'd like
on
to
that?
tackle that if I might, because I didn't realize that until I'm working with this man here, and he's looking at obligation and responsibilities, and his intuition led him to me, and now we're looking at passion. I work with mostly women, but anyway, he found me, and hey, whoever shows up, I work with them. What I realized is that he was into all this obligation. We were talking today about men looking at obligation and responsibilities and not really open themselves up. But I said, you know, you found me. So I'm gonna be at the psychic fair on Saturday. I would love to have you talk about what it is to get away from obligation with men into and let themselves evolve. And so I'm realizing that we have these, I wouldn't say roles, or these stereotypes of what men can do and what women can do. And so it's up to us to break out those little boxes, those little prison, or those little scripts that is defined for us. Once we do that, but you know, some people, I believe, need to do that until they get tired or till they get something ruffled up in them. Like this man been doing this all his life, and now he's suddenly looking at his intuition. So there's a point where we have to do it until, not until it hurt, but do it until it's completed. Like we got to do that thing until we get out our system, and then we can be open to new possibilities. But for everyone, there's a time to change, and we have to allow them to grow as they want to grow, and not try to grow them as we want them to grow, because it doesn't work if I'm trying to tell you which path to take. You need to take that until you bleed or hurt or whatever, until you realize, okay, I'm bumping my head, I better try something different.
Yes, that reminds me of that quote by Anissa Nin about, you know, when the bloom is so tight that you have to change, you know. Denise, what's your take on that? How do people move from obligation into passion? What kind of small steps can they start taking to move on to the path of fulfillment that is aligned with what they truly value, what their true priorities are, and that have all these blissful moments that we're talking about to evolve?
One of the things I think is our mindset around obligation and what that means. So if I look at obligation as an act of love, it changes how it feels to me. So if I look at it like I'm committed to taking care of my family, and I'm in a job that allows me to do that well, then I'm not obligated. I'm in a place of power. So that shift right there puts me in a position of power. The other thing is people often think it's an either or conversation. Either I stay in this job or I go do this thing that I really want to do. And it can be a both and. There's been plenty of times when I've had two different jobs, one foot in the old world, if you will, in the old role, and one foot in the new, as I developed that new calling or that new career or role. So I don't think it has to be this either or, and I don't think it has to be so black and white. The big thing I think is for me, and I'm talking about me, Denise, when I catch myself putting a limit on myself, like I have to do this job because it's what pays the bills and it's the only way, and I have these benefits and I have this retirement and I can't do anything else. That's me limiting me. I'm in fear. And when I'm in fear, a lot of this comes from being a firefighter. I'm not in a good place. So how can I shift to love as fast as I can? And I just take a deep breath and I start saying, what would love do here? What would love do here? And I stay in that question, and it usually leads me to take some action steps, maybe tiny ones, but it leads me down a new path, if you will.
Thank you. I love that. I love that inquiry and the pause to think about that, to reflect. Sometimes we just want to keep acting, doing the next thing. It's really important sometimes to just pause and reflect, you know, and what would love do, and asking those questions so that we activate our inner guidance system through that. Feel out what's most true for us.
I think it's also important to remember that even when you're taking care of a family, it's absolutely not only okay to love you, it's necessary.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Lisa, what do you think it is? How can we move into that place of passion, of our soul's expression of determining our destiny?
Yeah, well, I love what everybody said, and I can completely relate to what Denise is saying. I remember when I was one foot in and one foot in my job, which was squeezing me day by day, like changing, things. I could see that the time was close that I was not going to be working there any longer. And I had been developing my other, skills. And it was a really tough time. And I just remember thinking, I'm just going to go in to my job and be myself and use my new skills and have fun and bring joy in and see what happens. And people were kind of, at first it was like, this is weird. Like we don't do this in, in this environment. We don't have fun and we don't ask questions and but people loved it. They really loved it. And it changed the whole workplace environment. It changed the way I got to show up. I got to show up doing my work and making a difference, which is what was important to me at the time. So I think we get stuck in these mindset patterns that run in the background over and over of, I've got to do this and it has to look a certain way. And just taking little tiny action steps. I love what you said, Denise, about, is this coming from love or fear? And how can I bring more love or joy in? One of the things that really helped me shift the energy, and I think that's kind of what, when you're not able to shift the pattern because you're stuck in it, if you can shift the energy around it, that helps. And one of the exercises that I used to do, and I only did it like a few times before I actually made the decision to move into my calling, if you will, was something called What If. And I did it the other night because I was up in the middle of the night and I couldn't sleep. And I'm like, okay, something's emerging. What is it? And I'm like, I'm going to do the what if. And I just wrote pages and pages of dreams. What if this isn't true? What if I don't need to pay the bills this way? What if, whatever comes up in your mind, and you just write and write and write what if statements until you're out, and it shifts the energy and you do get a breakthrough. It's an amazing process and it's super simple, and you could do it at work. So that's what I'd say.
Thank you for that, Lisa. And yeah, choosing how you're going to show up and how you're going to express yourself, no matter what it is that you're doing, and making that mindset shift and being able to shift your perspective and shift the way you feel about it just by setting those new intentions, taking more inspired actions, and using guiding principles. That's something I do. When I used to work in social services, I would only work for organizations where I can align with their mission. Whether they lived by that or not is a different story, whether they were aligned with that, but it was their mission that attracted me. And one of the places was make a difference every person, every day. And I really liked that because I really lived by that. I was living by that already. So I was really drawn to that position. But then I also came up with my own personal mission in that, because I was getting really frustrated with the system. At that point, I had worked with pretty much every system out there that, really there is no system, but we won't get into all of that. But then my intention became, I was loving my job. There's many aspects I loved about it, but I was getting really frustrated about the way things operated and structures that were in place that I didn't necessarily agree with. And so I wanted to stay, so I had to shift my thinking as well and my intention. And so the organization's mission was okay, but I needed my own personal one. Why am I there? And so it came to me that I want to get everyone who's lost in the system out. And so I ended up with a lot of those cases, and that became my personal intention, mission, my inspired action that I would take within that role, was to get people who are lost in the system out, to acknowledge them, to have them be seen and understood and heard. And so again, it's setting up what it is you want to experience, how you want to serve in whatever role that is. Parenting, photography was mentioned, creating beauty through that, and sharing the beauty in the world, capturing those moments, deciding how you're going to show up and what it is that you're expressing through that, setting up that inspired action, that intention. Guiding principles is something I use now. It's kind of a mix of affirmations and intentions that guide how I'm going to show up in my work now every day. And so I go through that and I read that and I align myself with that every day before I start. And that really helps to set the tone too for how my day is going to go, how I'm going to show up that day. And there's usually one or two that kind of stand out more than the others for that day. So each day brings a different frequency, a different way of tuning in and how we're going to express. Natasha, what do you feel about stepping into, or how to thrive rather than just survive? How do you see that happening?
So I couldn't agree more with the whole love aspect that Denise spoke about and the joy that Lisa's talking about. And the thing is that according to my own personal experience, there is a lot of like just sheer age and stage in life involved in these aspects as well, right? So there are people who very young decide that, you know, they want to be helpers, they want to be, you know, therapists and psychologists. But when they start there in their 20s, they're the ones who reach burnout. And there's a second phase for pretty much everyone for different reasons. And it happens because of, you know, us not looking at our obligations with love. We look at them as being, you know, just a cause of drama. And, you know, I think it's all part of the evolution of the human, the mind, and the body, and of course the soul. And I think that when each of us, since we're unique, it'll happen at different points and for different reasons at different stages of our lives, but that we are always like honest with ourselves, and we always come from a place of love and joy. So those are the words that I use, and no wonder we're all on the same panel, like we're all like attracted on the similar vibrational frequencies. Yes, it is joy. It is I mean, in fact, I just wrote a chapter in a book called Mindset Mastery, which was released on the 22nd of January, and my chapter was all about that. It was about unlocking the inner child in you that gave you so much joy, you know, even if that means, you know, just picking up the hula hoop again, or getting on the swing, or coloring pencils, or painting. And, you know, so one doesn't need to necessarily be disillusioned with life to reclaim stuff that the conditioning has taught us or made us think that these are for children. This needs to be left behind, like the magic, the fairies, the elves, and, you know, Father Christmas. You can bring that magic into today. And as far as unveiling what is our passion, what is our purpose of life, why was I born, all the existential questions, mission statements, all of this stuff, again, will reveal themselves as you start on your path of self-awareness. And again, each person starts the journey when they're ready. But ultimately, exactly when I logged on, you were saying half of what I always say, which is, you started saying that all these different paths. So I always say, I like quoting the old saying that all roads lead to Rome. So it's that. So whether a person's doing yoga or Reiki, or you know, just even going for a massage, where they, you know, just at any point in time, mind, body, and soul is aligned. There is you know, you're in you're just receptive instead of on the do, go, and fear-based and, you know, fight or flight mode. The more and more you can do that using whatever modality, workshops, retreats, just going to a therapist every week. And, you know, there's just so many options available to us now in this modern world, especially because of online. Now you can tap into anything, anywhere. So as long as the one is doing that, then one's reality and truth, I believe, my personal experience, will reveal itself. And when you're on the other side, it seems like sort of like a very random and like vague kind of a light at the end of the tunnel, but that's what it is. You have to start on the path, you have to walk it. There are no signposts. Everyone's path is unique. And like Denise, every time I have got myself in the past, curiously, I haven't had to do it for a long time though, now, but when I used to find myself making decisions that were paralyzing me in any sort of sense, I'd ask myself, what are you going to do with this now? Do you want to process it either from fear or from faith? And faith means just belief that everything will work out for the best. And I like replacing that bit with love, Denise, a lot. It really is fantastic. But yeah, so fear or faith, fear or love, and you can only have one process at a time in the brain, ultimately, one reaction at a time. So that creates some magic, for sure, for sure.
Bring back the magic. I love it. And there's such a wealth of resources right here too for people to reach out. So Natasha, can you share a little bit about your work, how you help people and how they can connect with you, and whether you have a free gift to share?
So I right now don't have any programs running as such, but of course I have I have my own tribe here in our community, and I'd love to meet more of you there, or new people who are listening join in. My tribe's called Money Mindset Manifestation Magic, and that's where I hold the space for, you know, pretty much everything we were talking about today, to share my journey and to listen to others, celebrate their wins, and support if there's any support necessary. And the best way to follow my adventures is by following me on Instagram. My handle is bodyspeak.in. And yeah, because there's a lot of things that are evolving for me this year. So I'm a recently published author. I was published last August in this book called Wealth Codes, where I write about finding abundance through accepting death. And I would love to give my chapter from that book to anybody who would like, from your summit or from our panel discussion. If you write into me on my email address, which is natasha@mind-bodyspeak.com, then I'll be happy to send you my chapter. So that's my giveaway and my thank you, and a way to express my gratitude for allowing me to be here and talking to you and meeting everybody. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Natasha. And Dr. Ida, how do you like people to connect with you?
I'm right now on same path, but a different niche. I'm still in intuition, but I'm giving these business grants to people and assessing the intuition to see how it aligns with their business. And so I'm going to put that in the chat as a link, because I have 5 of these, but you know, I can always create more, but 5 of these business grants that I'm giving away to people and assessing their intuition to see how, if it's aligned with the business, their life, and how they can use it. And it's free, so I'm going to post that here if it's okay with you. Okay.
Well, that's perfect, being able to come back into alignment. Thank you for that. And what about you, Denise? How do people work with you? What can they expect? How do they connect?
There we go. So the best way to connect with me usually is by going to my website, courageousleadershipacademy.com, and or on Facebook. You can go to the Courageous Leadership Academy page, or you can go to my personal page, Denise Garrett, Lilburn, Georgia. You'll see my mug. I'd love to connect with you. I welcome the opportunity. And as a free gift, I have a guide for you, and I call it What's the Lifeline of Your Business? The Listening Difference. And while it's geared a bit towards businesses and business owners, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, if you get the guide, you'll see how it applies to your personal relationships as well. So I will put the link to that in the chat, and I look forward to connecting with you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Denise. And Lisa, what's the best way for people to reach you, and what can they expect when they connect with you?
Yeah, so I think the best place to connect with me is, well, I'm on Sacred You. So I do have I co-host the Magical Playground Tribe, where we do intuitive art, and it's super fun. So highly recommend that. And then also LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn, and I can put my link in for a business expansion call that I have, that I love to connect with people to help them gain clarity on how to move forward. I guess the best way I could say what I do is I really help people uncover their gifts, their truth, their stepping into their highest version of themselves. And this would be for anybody who's in leadership and wants to be more successful, or who wants to be in front of a different clientele that actually says yes to their offer, or if they are wanting to revamp their messaging. all of the clients I work with are moving forward and expanding, and they want to step into their magnificence. So that's what I help them do, create in a different way. So I'll put my link in for my complimentary call. I would love to offer that. It'd be fun.
Awesome. So good. Thank you. Thank you so much for everyone, all the wisdom you shared and all the authenticity, your passion for what you do, and being so open to all the possibilities, and inspiring anyone who's listening or watching to experience that too, to be open and explore what would truly light you up, what would make you happy, what would be most fulfilling for you. And if you're not loving what you're doing right now, how can that shift for you? How can you make that a little bit different so that you enjoy doing what you're doing, and how you're showing up in the world can be even better? Let's get more of you. Thank you, everyone. And Sophia's here to talk to us about our sacred community, sacredyou.love, and the amazing things that happen there.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you everyone for being on this panel, and for everyone who has been listening in and tuning in. First of all, Jennifer, can we just take a moment just to honor you? Just to honor you for bringing this panel together, to being a wonderful facilitator, and for making it part of your amazing summit, the Wake Up and Change the World Global Summit, which is really there just to help everyone in the world. You know, to make the world, to help us be the better version of ourselves, to help the world be the best that it can be too. So I just want to honor you for that. Thank you, Denise, and
Thank you so much.
and everyone else. No problems. And for everyone who is watching, do click on the links for all these wonderful women, including Jennifer. Jennifer is, as well as being an amazing facilitator and summit organizer and everything else, Jennifer also writes a lot of our blogs. So do click on those links and check out the blogs that Jennifer has done for us as part of our sacred community. And of course, what you can come and join us. We've got so many panel discussions coming up. Click on the links that are in the comments. We've got lots and lots of panel discussions as part of this whole thing coming up. And also all our tribes that you can come and join us just for $1 Australian. Come and join us for 3 weeks, complimentary. You get to try out all our tribes, including Lisa's tribe, the Magical Playground, including Natasha's tribe, the Money, Mind, Manifestation Magic tribe, our newest tribe, really great, thoroughly recommend it. Plus, we've got over 20 other tribes that you can come and join just for $1 Australian. And then after that, it's only 35 Australian dollars a month. No, 15 Australian dollars a month. Sorry, I'm looking at, for if you want to be a host, it's only 35 Australian dollars a month. But if you want to join the tribe, it's just 15 Australian dollars, or about $10 US a month, to come and join all of the tribes that you're interested in. So do click on the links there and come back next time. Come and join us. We've got some lots of panels coming up. So thank you again. Thank you for all these beautiful women for giving up their time, their passion, sharing their passion with us. It was wonderful. I've been listening, lots of tips, love the tips about, the writing, Lisa, and everything else. Love it all. So thank you. All good.